You're on the stream.
You have a 6 chair on set.
What's on?
1 and 5, yeah. And depending on whose question is, I'll kind of gracefully route it. 5 plus. I'm adding. I want. I already had the idea of doing that.
We like pass.
Yeah. No. I'm totally. I can like give a mic to. Does that sound okay?
So far, it's working.
I'll just lock my screen so in case it doesn't sleep or just in case.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, just so you guys know, you guys are technically, you guys are the most audible thing on the live. It just turned on.
Are we good with the live stream?
Seems like it.
Great. Can you send out the file?
Good evening, everyone. How are we doing? Thanks, everybody, for joining. Welcome to Base Around the World, Base Southeast Asia Edition, Singapore Sub Edition. Really excited for you all to join us on a Monday evening. I see some familiar faces in the crowd, both from our travels just recently, and before that, also some new faces that I've been meeting. Really exciting trip that we've been on. Some of us on the base team, we started in Nairobi and met builders from all across Africa. Then we went to India in Bangalore and hosted a meetup there and met builders all across India. And of course, the past week, which I know some of you were at, and blessedly survived and hopefully had a fun and productive time at DevCon, which is the Ethereum Foundation's big, conference that they do every couple of years, of course. So maybe just show of hands. Who here was at DevCon last week? All right, yeah, round of applause for DevCon and the EF. And all of us really coming out helpful, mostly I hope, and making our way here on Monday night. That's great. Maybe we'll do a little more audience participation. Show of hands if you are building on-chain. Show of hands. I think you are. Yeah, I think you are. All right, nice. And maybe one more. So show of hands if you've done something on-chain in November. All right, great. That's like 90. Yes, I love it. Hi. That's awesome. Very cool. All right, so we're going to keep it moving. We've got a really great evening planned for y'all. So we're going to start things off. Jesse's going to come and share a little bit about the vision of what we've been doing and building on Base, the builders that we've been connecting with all over the world. Then we're going to have a great builder panel with some local Singaporean builders hosted by Hassan. And then we're going to round things out with a very, hopefully a stimulating question and answer. So all of y'all can start thinking about some hardball questions for us. You'll have the core Base team up here. We can answer some nice questions for the audience, what you're building, on-chain, Base, Ethereum, really anything at all that you can hit us with. So start thinking and get those gears turning. All right, so we're going to get into it. So let's have a big round of applause to get into Jesse's kickoff talk. Jesse Pollack, everybody.
I was told I had to do a grand entrance through the top stairs, so that's me. Hey everyone, this is the first time I've ever done a talk in a museum. I think that's pretty cool. If you don't know me, I am Jesse Pollack, creator of Base, and we have, over the last now 8 days, the thing that has struck me the most is how quickly the on-chain economy is growing. I think here it's particularly stark. There are developers building apps and products. There are new use cases emerging. There are literally tens and tens and tens of meetups happening on Base every single quarter. And I was looking at them, we had 12 meetups in 2024 across a bunch of different regions. But that number was taken a few weeks ago, and now we're up to 24. And so the speed with which the world is coming on chain and the speed with which people are coming onto Base is accelerating everywhere, but I think particularly here, it's accelerating. And one thing I'm very excited about is we just had a whole new set of people join that cause. We ran a build-a-thon, and it lasted 3 weeks. We had hundreds of people participate. We had a bunch of incredible winners. And the thing that stood out to me about a bunch of these folks is that for a large percentage of them, it was their first time building on-chain. They'd never written an on-chain app before, they never created on-chain before, but they heard the calling of Bases for everyone. They heard the calling of anyone can be a builder. And they raised their hand and they said, what if I use AI to help me write code faster? What if I use tooling like OnChainKit to let me go 0 to 1 on an app? And out of that, they built products that solved real problems in their communities. And some of them won, and a large percentage of them are now continuing to build. And they're joining us, joining all the people in this room, as the people who were here at the beginning to bring the world on chain. And we can talk a lot about the products and the progress and the stable coins, but the thing that I think consistently feels most resonant to me is the people. It's the people who show up today for this event, It's the people who raise their hand and host meetups. It's the people who see a better future and then tell their friends, tell their family, tell their coworkers, and put their reputation on the line for this crazy new thing that we're building. Because they believe in that better future, and they believe that in their actions, in their leadership, they can be a part of it. And I think there's so many of those people on base, but there's also just like some people who go above and beyond. And is anyone on this list in this room? No one's in this room. That's sad. Hopefully, why? Yeah, let's give her a round of applause. I thought so. I was looking for Elle. Thank you for being such a base builder. You know, there are people who have been going above and beyond to build this thing that is base because they think that their work can accelerate the rate at which the world comes on chain. And they're doing it because they believe in a better future. And I want to just take a second to talk about like, what does that mean? When I say on-chain, when you hear on-chain, when you say that to your friend, like, why are we using that world and what are we building together? I want to start by, again, doing a little hand raise. Raise your hand if you are a developer and you've been frustrated with an App Store review process. Okay, we got good hands up. Raise your hand if you are a developer and you have had to pay 30% of your revenue to some corporation. Raise your hand if you are a creator and you've brought your creativity online and then you have made basically no money from it. This is the internet that we live in today. It's an internet of walled gardens, of large corporations who have taken our creativity and they've locked it up. And they've said, in order for you to get access to likes and retweets and faves, you need to put your content on our platforms. You need to give it to us. And then we can monetize it and make money from it. And then we can decide who gets to participate. And then if we don't like what you're doing, we can take your rights away. We can deplatform you. And it's not working. It's not working for creators, it's not working for developers, it's not working for people who, depending on where they're born, depending on where they live, depending on what phone they have, get access to different things just because a small number of corporations say that's the way it should be. And when we're talking about on-chain, what we're talking about is a new internet. We're talking about a new internet that is built by the people, for the people. A new internet where if you're a developer, you can build and there are no gatekeepers. Where if a developer, when you ship an app that makes money, you get all of the money. And where if you're a creator, when you bring your creativity on-chain, you don't give it away. It's still yours. And then you make more money, you keep your network, you connect directly with your fans, and you're not at risk of being deplatformed because you're building on an open economy that's yours. And it means that regardless of where you're born, regardless of where you live, regardless of what phone you have, regardless of who you are, you get access to the same fundamental human rights. You get access to the same products, you get access to the same financial system, and you get access to the level playing field where you can build a better life for yourself, for your family, for your business, for your friends, for your community. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about building on-chain. We're talking about building a new internet. We're talking about building on base. We're talking about building on base. On-chain is this big thing that all of us are building together, but the people in this room have opted in to be at the center of it and to believe in this mission of building a global on-chain economy that increases innovation, creativity, and freedom around the world. And in believing in that mission, push us faster and faster towards a future where literally the whole world is on-chain. Millions of builders, billions of developers, trillions of dollars of assets, all running on a secure, decentralized platform that everyone can access. We're talking about making it so that on-chain is cheap and fast, so it just works, so everyone can enter it. We're talking about making it so it's not controlled and built by one company, it's built by everyone. And we're talking about making it so it's So there's no single person who set the rules that makes it all possible. A year ago, or a year and a half ago, a year and 3 months ago, this idea of bases for everyone didn't really exist. It wasn't live, there was nothing there, but it's been a hell of a 2024. Right now, Base is now the largest L2 in the world. In less than a year, builders have earned tens of millions of dollars on Base. Creators have earned millions of dollars bringing their creativity on such a new platform. Billions of dollars in the economy, millions of transactions happening every single day, and thousands and thousands and thousands of builders in every single country around the world, and living in every single country, are building this future together on an open platform. And it's not just numbers. Raise your hand if you did something during On-Chain Summer. Yeah, a lot of you. Raise your hand if you were at Basecamp. Also a lot of you. We've been creating culture. We've been creating community, Base names, Basecamp, On-Chain Summer, Grant, based around the world. This idea of the next generation of the internet. None of this existed a year ago. But now it does. And it's because of us. Believing and working and hustling and grinding and staying up late. And the progress is incredible, but it's still day one. Literally. Like, we started back here, when I started working on crypto 12 years ago, I thought it was going to happen really quickly. It didn't happen. But I feel like for the last decade, we've been kind of grinding on this work of building infrastructure, of making it fast, of making it cheap, of making it accessible, of bringing people in from different mindsets, and different perspectives, and different skill sets. And right now, we finally have all of the pieces. It's finally fast. Finally cheap. Wallets are easy enough to use. On-chain social is starting to emerge as a viral distribution channel. And with all of us pushing over the next few months, in 2025, we're going to go from this flat line that's been growing steadily to this exponential curve, where over the next few years, the entire world comes on-chain. Because the promise of a better economy on-chain is real. And once people start seeing that, they're going to say yes. But the only way we can do that is if we do it together. Because it can't be one person. It can't be one company. It can't be one country. The entire world has to believe in a new system. It has to build a new system that builds a better economy for all of us. And so I want to share a little bit about how we're thinking about 2025, about how we're thinking about supporting all of you, and building with all of you. And then a little bit about maybe how you might show up and how we think that can help. And then we're going to turn it over to do an incredible panel with a bunch of builders who are doing it right now. So looking ahead to 2020, which makes it dead simple for anyone to get on-chain and for developers to onboard new people on-chain. And this is things like On-Chain Kit, which has all of the components you need, a feed, a messenger, a swap, a login, all of the pieces so that if you want to, you can go into Cursor and you can go, hey Cursor, build me an on-chain social app. And 5 minutes later, you have an on-chain social app. And it just works. These tools are what's going to make us accelerate faster. And building them open source so that everyone can contribute to them on open standards so all of us can align and to connect to these open markets is what's going to let us build an open global economy. So the second thing we're going to do is we're going to make it really easy for devs. The third thing, and this sits kind of at the intersection of devs and users, is that we want to make wallets disappear. Right now, when people are coming on chain, the first thing that they have to do is they have to go through this complicated setup process. It's like, save your seed phrase, write down a recovery password, don't forget it. Oh yeah, and like, don't mess this up. Because if you mess this up, you're going to lose all your money. Like, that's the talk that all of us have to give our friends and family as we're bringing them on chain. And that's the complexity that developers have to deal with whenever they're building an app on chain. Oh yeah, and they also have to solve for on-ramps, and they have to solve for cross-chain. They have to handle all of this stuff that's not building world-class apps. And so the third thing we want to do is we want to make all that go away. And with the smart wallet, that's exactly what's happening. Now it's less than 10 seconds to create a new wallet, on-ramps built in, cross-chain built in. You as a developer, you integrate one SDK, and then everything else is handled for you. And again, it's all open source. It's all built on open standards, and it's all built to plug you into open global markets. Now, if we do that successfully, and we build the on-ramps, we build the stablecoins, we build the developer tools, we build the wallet infrastructure, we're going to have a lot of people. You all are going to build apps that millions and tens of millions and hundreds of millions of people use. And the fourth thing we need to do is we need to make it so that they can actually come on chain, because it continues to be fast and cheap. And so we are dead set on scaling Base. We went from 2 megagas a second to 20 megagas a second this year. Next year we'll go from 20 to 200, another 10x. So that there's more than enough capacity on Base for developers, for creators, for users, so that everyone can come on chain cheaply, and that when they do, they're coming on chain onto a decentralized platform. That's stage one, that gives them the surety that their freedom is going to still be there. And then the last thing, and this is a new one, but we want to make the on-chain economy work for creators. Because if you look at the world today, creators are the voice of the world. There are 300 million people around the world who are creators as their full-time job. Creators, 33% of young people say they want to be creators when they grow up. But right now, the system's kind of stacked against creators. You literally take your creativity, that's like your passion, and then you put it into these platforms where it's theirs. And they choose when they give you money. And most of the time, it's not that much. And that sucks. And so we believe that if we give better platforms to creators, where they can bring their creativity on-chain, they can earn more, they can control their content, they can build more meaningful connections with their fans, their collectors, their friends, that's what's going to drive everyone on-chain. Because they're going to start telling the story of the on-chain economy, and how the on-chain economy is working for them. And when we have creators at our back telling that story, everyone else is going to listen. And they're going to listen on TikTok, and then they're going to come over to Dracula, to Farcaster, to Zora, to Base, to benefit from this economy that they're hearing about. And so if you're a creator in the audience, if you're a creator around the world listening in, streaming right now, we're going to be here for you. And we're excited to make that happen. And so I guess the last thing that I have to say is it's time to get building. The people in this room are the people who will build the future, who will build the on-chain economy. And as you do it, you have all the details, you have all the expertise, you have all the creativity, so I can't tell you what to build. But we've spent a lot of time with builders in the last 2 years, and there are a few things that I might share about how we can build together better. They're very short, very quick. The first is that we need to focus on making something people want. Because in the last 5 years of crypto, I think at times we've gotten too distracted with the tokens and the prices and the speculation and the noise. And at the end of the day, none of it matters unless we're solving real problems for real people and real businesses. And so we've got to make things that actually do that give people what they want. The second thing is, I'm sick and tired of hearing, oh yeah, this crypto experience is good for crypto. We gotta make things that people actually can use, that are delightful, that are fun, that are dead simple. Because right now, we're not competing against other crypto products. We are competing against the Web 2 products of the existing internet that have been spending billions and billions and billions of dollars on optimizing their user experiences so that all of us just tap a little bit more. And if we want to beat them, we have to be 10x better, and we have to be 10x easier. And with this new technology platform that we've built, that's fast, that's cheap, that's global, that's connected, that's composable, it's possible. We just need to challenge ourselves to do it. So we need to build dead simple experiences. And then the last thing is that we need to bring new people on chain. And that's something that every single one of us can do. Take your app, show it to your friends. Show it to your family. Show it to the random person on the street. And see what happens. See what you learn. And do that work, because not only will it make you better, will it make your product better, it will also continue to accelerate the rate at which the entire world is going on-chain. If each one of us onboards one person, onboards one person, onboards one person, we're going to get to the entire world on-chain a lot faster than we might expect. And so keep building and stay based. And when I say stay based, I'll be specific. Do the right thing, even when it's tough. Work hard, because it's not going to be easy to change the world in this fundamental of a way. Be optimistic, because the future is bright, and we can see it, and we need to get there. Push boundaries with creativity. And then finally, put the team over the individual. Because this is bigger than any one person, it's bigger than any one country, it's bigger than any one company. It's about all of us working together, working against the systems that are broken, and building towards a better future for the world. So thank you everybody for being here. We have an awesome lineup. So grateful that all of you are here. And the last thing I do want to just share is that we have a whole bunch of people from the base team here today. Raise your hand if you're here from the base team. Look around, see who's on, take a photo of the screen. We want to meet all of you. And there's folks from product, from marketing, from engineering, from UXR, from design, from every team across the company. And not only do we want to meet you to listen and learn what you're building and figure out how we can support, that's awesome. But we also want to meet you if you're in this mindset, because we are growing our team. And we are hiring people in Singapore, we are hiring people across Southeast Asia, we are hiring people across the world. And we're hiring for literally every function. And so if you're excited about that, come talk to us too. And so with that, thank you all for being here. I'm going to hand over to Hassan. We're off to there.
We're going to set this up today. Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Totally. All right. That was awesome. Right on. So as we're going to set up the chairs here for our building panel, I thought we'll do a little bit more audience participation. You know, it's a Monday night, but we appreciate everybody coming out. So yeah, we'll do a little call and response. All right, guys. So when I say X, you say Y. All right, we get it. All right. So when I say stay, you say base. Stay.
Base.
Stay.
Base.
All right. When I say giga, you say gas. Giga.
Gas.
Giga.
Gas.
All right. When I say on-chain, you say kid. On-chain.
Kid.
On-chain.
Kid.
All right, pay attention. This one's going to be a little bit harder, but I have faith in you guys that you can do it. When I say RIP 7755, you say cross-chain interactions. RIP 7755.
Cross-chain interaction.
RIP 7755.
Cross-chain interaction.
All right, that's right, that's right. Very good stuff. Stay tuned. That's a roll-up improvement proposal that I'm sure you're all very plugged in on. All right, great. So we've got our next panelist coming up. Let's get a round of applause for Hassan of Coinbase Singapore lead. He's going to be hosting our builder panel. Hassan.
Hello, good evening everyone. Thanks so much for coming out. It's wonderful to see everyone assembled. I see a lot of friendly faces. So it's really, really special for the Singapore-based community to get together this evening with our core base team and a lot of the folks who live here as well. So following up on Jesse's talk, although those are very, very big shoes to fill, I'm also equally excited to bring on stage our local builder panel. So can I invite Elle, Wui, and Jen from their respective protocols to please come up. Let's give them a big round of applause. Come on up. All right, wonderful. I was not expecting to be pushed all the way up here, so it's a very interesting vantage point. It's also pretty cool to be at the National Gallery. We had ETH Singapore here a couple of years ago to gives me a bit of a techno-optimist feel. I think in a couple of years we're going to have Web2 walled gardens and some of these exhibits the way that things are going. All right, so let's kick us off for the evening. So maybe starting with you, would love for the panelists to just introduce yourselves, a little bit about your sort of your experiences, heritage in Singapore and around, and then more importantly, what are you building the base?
Hey everyone. My name is Wei. We've been building Atlas for about 3 years now. all the way out of Singapore. And prior to that, I had a big tech experience, working with a bunch of big tech companies. And at Atlas, we believe in using games and fun to bridge the next billion people into Web3. And so the thesis of what we're building has always been in this space of games. And right now we're building something called Gambit.finance. It's a gaming infrastructure, and feel free to check it out. Along the way, I also want to give a shout out to a bunch of builders that's been building with us, right? So we've sort of evolved into a bit of a venture model, a venture studio model, if you will, right? So we picked up builders, they had cool ideas, we sort of helped them grow. And so projects like Failsafe, the security protocol, projects like Pop, gamified options, and kind of all have sort of roots in the Atlas ecosystem. So that's kind of our story.
Hi everyone, Jian. My name is Jen, and I actually have two projects going on Base right now. So the first is Kit Protocol, which is trustless, permissionless payment rails for AI. So if you've got a model that your government doesn't necessarily like, you can get paid securely and discreetly for access using Web3. I also have a project that's been going on for a while, and Tom knows all about it, which is a game, an on-chain game, where the game is to hack the governance of a DAO. So that is going to be launching on Base soon.
Hi everyone, good evening. I'm Al. I am the global Base builder ambassador based out of Singapore. I'm building mainly on Base as well as on Farcaster. So I run the Base FG channel over there. And the other thing I'm building is really Jam, which is a creator economy tool. In short, we have done a great job of running over 10 million transactions in the first week of launch. We paid out more than $500,000 to creators. So we've done good on that one. If you're coming right up soon, we'll be total launch and we'll be on Base as well. So look out for that. Back to you, Hassan.
Wonderful. Thanks for the intro, guys. So let's dive into it. So let's start with, so many of you, I'm sure have been in on-chain and crypto for a long time, and you've been building for a few years now. I hear a lot of misconceptions, especially from Web2 builders and folks that are not as close to the space about, building on-chain can be very difficult to deploy and monitor and all that. What are some observations that you have of building on-chain today with the latest tooling that's available that folks might not be as, who are not as close, might not be aware of? What are some maybe surprises to the upside that you experience or your teams experience these days?
So I guess I can jump in with this, because this is a really sort of personal experience that I have with the game project out here that we made. So yeah, I've presented this game at academic conferences as a sort of game theory project, and how we can build Asian-based models out of humans and so on. And I always get asked, why did you use Web3 for this? Is it just a meme one chill out there? And I always say that, we could have built this in Web 2, and we could have set up the whole economy in Web 2 and made a point space like Warcraft Gold or whatever. But it would have been a million times harder than to just get a contract from OpenZeppelin and deploy that. So yeah, I think we are reaching this point at which there are lots of things now that it is easy to do in Web 3 than it would be to do in Web 2.
I'm trying to hear one of those things that I've heard working with Web3 and transparency or building stuff on chain. Is the fact that payments and every transaction being on chain is a lot more transparent and things happening more open and less private. So in an example that recently we spoke with an OnlyFans creator, just to be very straightforward, is her experience on Instagram and other platforms has been challenging because there were actions where the account was banned and transactions were made at the table to release and open out the account. So these are the stuff that doesn't happen on-chain. It's hard to combat when it's not that transparent. But whereas if you want to see all the transactions on-chain, looking at all the wallets, it's very obvious what's going on. So that's kind of the experience we have with creators on-chain. A lot more things become more open. People enjoy that, and where the fees are going. It's very clear as well how things are being paid out. So it's a very different experience when we talk to creators that are moving from Web2 platforms over to Web3, and that's really important for them.
So for me, I think the biggest misconception about Web3 or on-chain is that people think that we are reinventing the wheel, right? They think that they're coming in, they're going to reinvent what wallets look like, what the chains look like, what GPUs look like. And I think there's a chronic case of like not inventing here syndrome, right? But what I think is more realistic is to understand that there's actually been, a lot of people think that blockchain is like 3 years old, right? Because that's when they saw Bitcoin hit all-time high. But it's been there for at least a decade, right? And there's a lot of great tools we built, right? If you want to write some smart contracts, you could just spin something up with OpenZeppelin, right? If you want to build a chain, and every time someone tells me I'm going to build a new L3, right? I go, why, right? Like don't we have enough L3s and L2s and L4s, right? Like basically what I think builders in Web3 should focus on is focus on the use case that's going to attract other people, right? And let other companies who know how to build secure wallets, that know how to spin up high-performance chains, know how to figure out security at a protocol level, let them handle that stuff, because if everybody was trying to do their own flavor of that, you just end up reinventing the wheel like 15,000 times, right? But no one gets any further. That's kind of my take.
Awesome, love it. Yeah, we were with the regulator the last couple of days, and they said, hey, enterprises want to use your chain, but they're not sure that you can provide an SLA against the payments and the fees. And so they're very surprised to hear that there's, we have Paymaster functionality, bundlers that put all these things together as sponsors. So definitely I'd say the on-chain world's come up a lot faster than people are giving credit for. Okay, let's switch gears to maybe something a little more closer to home. So let's talk about ecosystems and building in Singapore and Southeast Asia. Protocols may be global, but ecosystems are local, as I like to say. So can you share some of your experiences and observations from building, let's say, this part of Singapore or just for this region? And how do you sort of compare maybe your experience versus your like builder peers who might be in other parts of the world when you talk to them?
So building out of Singapore, I think the key difference is it's really a very global hub in Singapore. So you get exposure to different kind of chains. There's a lot more projects, protocols, different type of stuff that you can get access to. So building in Singapore is great because of the network over here. So you really get access to different toolings, investors, VCs, whatnot. So that's kind of an experience out of Singapore. Whereas recently, in comparison to our counterpart in Southeast Asia, such as Indonesia, Vietnam, the resources are much more limited. They need a lot more support, which is great because Jesse and the base team has been going around inspiring people, talking to key organizations to help them move things forward. And I think this is important for Southeast Asia, which I just want to give kudos to the team. Great job. Yeah, thanks for helping all of you.
Yeah, I would say from my perspective, because I have these two projects going on side by side, I really get to see the difference. So I've got one that is very sort of abstract and intellectual, and was never really intended to make a lot of money, and then I have obviously Kip, the other one, which is already making money and it's revenue positive and all the rest of it. So I really get to see the difference between the financial side and the more intellectual database side. And I would say that Singapore is very much on the regen side, which is really interesting. I go to Dubai and then it's just all, hey, did you buy last week's meme coin that pumps 1,000,000% and then dumps on all retail? Yeah, great, wonderful. And then Singapore is a lot more thoughtful about it. And I don't think this was government's intention. I think they kind of did it by accident when they were trying to make space for their own DPS-based exchange by blocking access to a lot of the others. But it's kind of turned out nice. You meet people in Singapore that you do not meet in any other crypto space. You don't meet in Dubai or Hong Kong or wherever. You meet people who are actually thinking about the mechanisms and they understand what an attractor is and how the game theory works and all the rest of it, which, yeah, is really wonderful to see.
Yeah, same. I think a lot of good stuff has been spoken about. Maybe I'll just reflect on what could be better, right? I think having had a bit of a Bay Area experience in my previous life, that doesn't mean, right? It's like every time a company, a FANG company goes like, global launch this day, what they mean is like North America launch, right? What it means is US launch, and then there's rest of the world, right? Which comes like 2 months later. I think sometimes the support could be a little bit better. I think there's for obvious reasons, a strong North America focus, and I think Base has had a strong ecosystem out of North America, where I would love to see 2025 is the base of spreading across the world as well. Right?
Awesome. That actually segues perfectly into my next question. So, feel free to expound on what you were saying as well. So, kind of bringing some of these things together. I also wanted you to share, with the crowd, your experience of building on Base. And then this is sort of your time to be spicy as well, so I'm sure there's a lot of great things that are happening and you benefit from. But give us some hard feedback as well, like what more would you like to see?
I'll go first. So maybe I'll start with what more I'd like to see or the challenges that we have. So like I'm mentioning, we built this tool and project that is really for creative economy and very much in the faster space. One of the things that are challenges that we have in the base is always getting attention. The very fact is that it is number one layer 2, but we're still around 3 billion TBL and still growing. That just means that there is only so much asset and liquidity going around in the ecosystem, and getting the attention is never easy. So that has been quite a challenge. We're still trying to work on that. Of course, working with the team as well, working with the community to get that across the line, so that more people can look at that and participants can come in as well. So the challenge has been always trying to get the attention, trying to get liquidity into projects. That has been a key challenge for us at least. So our project known as JAM has been building communities within Farcaster. And for those who know us, for the last few months we've been working really hard on the project to go along with Farcaster as well. Organized quite a few meetups. And if you're not on Farcaster yet, try it out. It's actually quite an interesting social platform, which is decentralized. Now, just on the balancing side, I also want to share that from our experience of building on base, what we've seen is that the team is very responsive to feedback. So some of you all might have participated in research IRL with the base team as well. So you know that these feedbacks that they're getting gets translated into meaningful stuff, whether it's of product, services, or support. And I think that's crucial. That's one thing you don't see in a lot of other protocols or L2s. And this is a tremendous thing effort from the team. Some of those tools that I kind of feel like is important because I've been doing payments for many years. I think one of those is what Asim just mentioned, which is Paymaster, an important part of EIP 4337. The idea is that you are now able to sort of consolidate as a Paymaster to allow the consumers who are paying to make payment without having to fund it in the wallet in the first place. And that is really a game changer because if you've done something in payments, you know that that is one of the key points to solve for consumers. As they pay, how do they get their first gas or transaction going? They need to have a compatible wallet. It might be a cost they don't want to pay. So you can reduce or remove friction. It really changes the game, and I think that's the future of payments. When NPC wallets are involved, smart wallets, smart contracts with Paymasters involved as well. That really changes the game. So these are kind of support and tools that are available on base. And if you tried that yet, I strongly suggest you look into both MagicSpan and Paymaster. Really interesting stuff to work with. And with the on-chain kit that is upcoming, all the sort of tooling as well as building experience will become more seamless and codeless, I'll say, for a lot of users out there. And that's something else we're important to get as well.
Yeah, I would say 100% agree with you on Paymaster. One of the big things when we've been building is right from the start we wanted to build so that it would be possible for people to use the apps and the models and so on that are deployed using Kit without necessarily being aware that they're using Web3. If they want to use Web3 to connect, great, we can offer discounts and so on if they do that. But they need to also be able to just interact using fiat, using account abstraction, using smart wallets and so on, without necessarily thinking, okay, I'm on crypto now, I need to know about this. And that really kind of paid off for us, I think, because we do a lot of business with governments. So we were just in Argentina talking to President Lay. We've got an agreement coming up with Malaysia, with Thailand, and we're talking to Kazakhstan right now. And governments, obviously, they're sort of famously wary about this. And you can't go to them saying, please get on chain, it doesn't suck anymore. That is not a solid sales strategy. You need to go to them, present them a product that works, that is seamless, that they try it out and think, oh wow, this is wonderful. And then when they're told you sold on it, you can then say, oh yeah, by the way, this is built on Web3. And at that point, they're like, oh wow, I didn't realize this was possible. And they're already sold, so they come in, despite it being on Web3. So yeah, I think this is sort of crucial to future mass adoption.
For me, it's distribution channels. I spoke to Jesse and Sam about this as well. Every project is at that inflection point where you either go big or you go home, right? So Base being able to give distribution channels into an event is probably like the biggest help that any builder could ask for. And intrinsically, I think what Base does very well is this very no-nonsense builder focus. That's what attracted us to build on Base in the first place, as opposed to many other chains that was very speculative, very frothy. End of the day, it was just a bunch of finance bros speculating tokens, right? So I think Base has the right fundamentals, and for scaling, it's all about distribution channels.
Great, thank you for that. And yeah, I think definitely, Jen, on the point around like policy and regulatory interaction, like both Base and Coinbase are spending, an inordinate amount of focus on making sure that we're helping to get that right around the world. And you saw some of it started to pay off in the North America side as well. And then I think on distribution as well, it's something that I know that Lucas and the team has been taking more notes around as part of the international focus. I think we're going to start to see much more of that organic interest start to, we're going to put more fuel in the fire so we can help you all in a major way as well. Okay, great. So I think this is the last couple of minutes, maybe stepping away. Would love to just kind of hear your quick takes on what are some, really fun, interesting things that you're seeing on chain, maybe verticals that you're excited about. It could be your own as well, but maybe other verticals too. What's some fun stuff that you want to share with us?
So obviously I'm in AI, so I'm going to say decentralized AI, which is kind of a buzzword right now, and there have been so many Laos projects come out that to do with that. Obviously Mars is the best, but yeah, no, there is really cool stuff being done in terms of decentralized inference, decentralized compute, and even the non-cool stuff. Honestly, if you can bootstrap someone's GPUs via line go up, then you can't as a plus. If some degens get burned at the end of the day. So the decentralized AI, yeah, that's one thing that I'm very keen on. And the other thing would be DAOs. So this has been one of the kind of the side effects of decentralized AI. The DAOs.fun concept, which is this immensely degen platform. But what it does is it mainly replicates an alt service, Syndicate.io, which used to be this really wonderful investment DAO platform that I used all the time. Not necessarily to start a DAO, but just for security. Because you could make a DAO with one member, which was you. Put all your ETH in there and get drawing rights tokens, which look like shitcoins, so you could hide your ETH away and preserve it from hackers. And the fact that this sort of meme coin meta has managed to respawn something that was a great project originally is pretty nice. I'm very happy about it.
For me, it's AI agents and the resource solving for me. Unless the bit around AI neutrons and stuff, but it's fascinating to me to see how these Twitter agents are essentially getting close to gaining sentience, right? So this topic of AGI has always been fascinating to me, and watching them converse with people, watching these like virtual.io if they're around. They have this brain terminal, right, where they show you what the LLM is thinking about, and to the extent where it's like shitting its own shitcoin and buying other people's shitcoin. I'm like, that's so human, right? That's basically what two degens will do with each other's project. So that's kind of like a really fascinating thought or intellectual exercise.
Last but not least, I think the narrative for the upcoming years ahead is not a very pro-crypto government in the States right now. So I'm really excited to see a lot of projects building and all kind of stuff. And if it's not the time to build, what else it is? So yeah, let's build together, guys.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And on that high note, we will conclude the panel. We're going to go into team Q&A, but the builders will be around afterwards to hang on and answer any questions as well. Thank you again, and Dom, back home to you.
One more round of applause. Thanks so much to our builders. That was great. Some nice nuanced takes, a little bit of spicy takes in there, and some great experiences building on-chain, off-chain, some other things they shared. So, how are we doing out there, everybody? We've been letting our subconsciouses, our unconscious mind spin up some ideas, maybe our conscious mind too. So, we thought this would be fun, to kind of invite some of the Base team up here. So, we're going to have a nice selection of folks from from Jesse to product to ecosystem, and we're going to be sharing an opportunity that you can come, raise your hand, ask a question, keep it civil, but we'll have what you will. So I'm going to call a few of us up on stage. We'll do kind of a reset here as they come up, and then we can do some nice Q&A. So Jesse, y'all know him, creator of Base, round of applause, come on up, take your seat. It's almost like a game show. Maybe we can get this into a game show. All right, I'm going to call up Aneri, product lead, social creators, and congrats her. Everybody wish her a very happy birthday. Let's sing her happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Aneri. Happy birthday to you. Send her all the on-chain birthday cakes. That's Aneri.me study. All right. So next up also Sam. Sam, join us. Head of ecosystem for Base. That's going to come up. Hit him up with all your go-to-market, business development, ecosystem ideas, really anything at all. Nick Prince on my team. Round of applause. Yeah, clap. All things related to Base, Base chain tools, gas, going gasless. The Paymaster got mentioned in the previous talk. And Nick's leading our Paymaster strategy to enable that gasless experience for your end users if you're building. All right. And then finally, last but not least, Natalie on our user research team. Come on up here, Natalie. Natalie has been fighting the good fight. No, I'll stand. Yeah, I'll stand. So Natalie has been leading builder panel sessions with Base builders, on-chain builders, not on Base, Web 2 builders that are not on-chain yet in all of the different regions we've been going. And this has been a fascinating exercise in really global builder energy and education for us. So thank you, Natalie. All right, so it's not about us, it's about you. What are your questions? Raise your hand, and then we have a person going around with the mic that will see what's up, and you can ask your question. Anything, product, technology, go-to-market. All right, down here in front, Jeffrey.
All right, sorry to jump into a deeply technical question, but it was on my mind. 200 million gas is pretty impressive. I don't know that other chains using the optimistic framework are even aiming that high. So how would, obviously at a high level, how would you go about that?
Yeah, totally. I can take that from a scaling standpoint, and then if you want to come over the top, Jesse, when we started off this journey, it was 2.5 megagas per second, I think, right there around. And thinking about the gas units that each call consumes, this is a measure of how much compute really the interaction is doing, maybe how much data storage is being used. And this is kind of the complexity of the smart contract call that your on-chain app is making. So a very simple one to send somebody ETH is like 21,000 gas, not that much. To do something fancy like deploy a new Uniswap pool, that's hundreds of thousands of gas. And so it kind of measures, it's not just a transaction or measuring transactions per second, but we're measuring, hey, how much compute, how complex is the user actions that you're taking. And certainly things like advanced financial apps or things like games are going to be using more of these gas units, which is how you pay for a little sliver of compute from the Ethereum world computer, as it were. So your question relates to how are we thinking about it being, Base is built on the OP stack chain, which is developed by Optimism and OP Labs. How are we thinking about getting to 100 megagas per second? 200 megagas per second, 1 gigagas per second. That's orders of magnitude more than what we have today. And so there's a few different dimensions that we're pushing on it. So to kind of stay at a high level, definitely the state expansion, that we want to make sure that we don't have too much state growth. And so we're exploring execution clients outside of Geth, like Reth, and that's in partnership with folks at Ethereum Foundation, at OP Labs. Another area that we're thinking about it is thinking about basically, how should I put this in simple terms? Just trying to think it through really. The idea of some parallel read-write so that we can get to the disk speed, so that our disk I/O isn't a blocking factor. And then an important constraint that I want to say is around fault proofs. And we've been doing very deep benchmarking in collaboration with EF and OP Labs to make sure that we don't push the gas target, push the block space throughput too much, that we won't be able to run fault proof. So I understand it's getting decently technical, but the idea is to keep the chain decentralized. Everybody must be able to post state roots and leave the chain, should they so choose. And now that we have fault proofs live as of this month, that's possible. We have to be very mindful that we don't scale so much that that's not possible anymore. And so we're balancing, like in Jesse's talk, scalability with decentralization and pushing OP Stack pretty hard, but I think it's somewhat of a public good that we're also doing contributing back along these different dimensions. Happy to share more, but those are my thoughts. I don't know if you want to come over the top of it, Jesse.
No, I think that's right. The only other thing I'd add is we can only scale if we're scaling Ethereum too. The big constraint is kind of like data availability on Ethereum, and so we've been working on PureDAS and in general just like increasing that capacity. And pretty optimistic that in the next hard fork of Ethereum in like early next year we'll get somewhere between a 33% and a 100% increase.
Yeah, that allows for a 100% increase in DA capacity. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, any other questions on our mind about building apps, creating on-chain, using on-chain, Base, really anything at all? All right, right there down the back middle.
Hi guys, my name is Marcus. So the question I have is, does the Coinbase team / Base team have any intentions to move off Ethereum into their own currency?
Yeah, probably you, Jesse. Go ahead and take it.
Well, maybe I can share a perspective, and then Sam can share some perspective as well. No intentions to move off of Ethereum. In general, our thesis is, as an L2 on Ethereum, it's a lot faster and it's a lot cheaper for us to run the network. Literally, we're paying for decentralization from Ethereum, and the cost of paying Ethereum is much lower than being our own L1, doing a bunch of issuance to cover that cost. And then two, I think we really benefit from being part of a broader economy and ecosystem. Like so many people in this room, I imagine, first learned about smart contracts building on Ethereum. And so much value in the on-chain economy is currently in Ethereum. And by being a layer 2, we can be a part of something bigger than just Base. And we can be a bridge, not an island, and really connect people up to the broader economy.
Yeah, I don't have much to add, but I mean, we can say this every meeting, every time we meet as a team, anytime we talk publicly, but we want to bring the entire world on chain. It is much easier if we do this with Ethereum first if we try to do it ourselves. So not only are we extremely aligned with Ethereum, not only do we benefit from Ethereum, but it's very core to our mission to be a part of Ethereum.
Thank you.
Nice, all right. Any other questions? Comments?
Someone back here.
One in the
All
back.
right. We got one in the back, yeah. I was going to start calling on some of y'all too. Question.
I was going to start asking questions. I got some questions for my team.
Hey guys, so the big talk at DevCon this time is Base rollout and Great Confirmation Market. So if that version of the rollouts gets more adopted, do you see a future where the sequencers, the current version of the sequencers evolve to become something that's more like Base level?
Definitely open to the possibility. Our general perspective on Base rollups is that they're still pretty early in the R&D phases, at like massive scale like we're at. But in general, I think there's value in having more connectivity between the L1 and the L2. And if Base rollups let us do that, open to pretty much anything. It could also help us increase kind of decentralization of the network on the sequencer set, which is a goal of ours. And so our general thesis on Base and our technology strategy is we want to basically be seeing what's working in the broader ecosystem because so much of it is open source, and then figuring out how do we kind of take the best of what's working and integrate it into our approach. And so, we're closely following ZK and ZK proving, and we think that that's going to get integrated into our proving stack because it's going to help with finality. We're closely following Base rollups. We think that can help with interoperability and essentially sequencer decentralization. We're closely following general kind of interop standards because we think that'll help us connect to more places. And so we're really just trying to synthesize what's working and then bring it to Base to help people build better. Yeah, good question. In the middle. I have a question too. Natalie, while you were waiting, you met a bunch with builders in like a bunch of different places. What stood out to you about Singapore builders?
I think something really exciting about Singapore builders that I didn't hear as much in some other regions is their excitement for supporting creators. It's like such an exciting place to do that. And I can't wait to see what Singapore builders do to support creators.
Hi everyone, Spencer here. One question I have, as many people in the Asia ecosystem do care about Bitcoin quite a lot. I'm curious, with CBBTC launching and so on, what is kind of basic strategy when it comes to Bitcoin ecosystem? I'd love to hear more.
Good question. I think for us, the way we think about Base generally, I guess kind of broader than Bitcoin, is we want it to be the market where anyone can access anything. We want every asset on Base. We want to make it extremely easy for people to be able to participate in any form of DeFi or CeFi that are available through Base. And so Bitcoin obviously is the largest asset in crypto, plays a pretty vital part of that. Obviously with CBBTC launch, I think we hit $1 billion of assets in about 55 days. We're excited to continue to double down on that. I think the one thing folks may have seen here is that we had we received an OP grant earlier this year through mission requests, and we're basically allocating that entirely to driving more BTC, not just CBBTC, but every form of wrapped Bitcoin on Base. And so that'll be going into driving more adoption of that on Base. And so I think we ourselves are going to continue to kind of prioritize it through our own interfaces as well, getting more wrapped Bitcoin on Base. But we're also going to do really incentive programs with awareness as well.
Yeah, and one other thing I'd add there is what we're seeing a lot of demand for right now, both from consumers and from businesses, is for either earning yield against Bitcoin or for borrowing dollars or other currencies against Bitcoin. And what is kind of emerging in the on-chain economy is that Base is the best place to do both of those things. It's fast, it's cheap, it's either low rates for borrowing or somewhat competitive rates for earning yield. And so we actually have a bunch of centralized exchanges who are having conversations with us about plugging in their customer bases and things like the smart wallet to make it so it's one click to wrap your Bitcoin to CBBTC or another Bitcoin form, put it into a borrow market on Base, and then withdraw USDC or earn yield against it. We think that's going to be a really compelling offering, basically, to businesses to then enable consumers. We think that that not only applies to Bitcoin, although it's great to Bitcoin because it's the biggest asset, but it actually applies to pretty much any asset that can be wrapped, gold, silver, oil. We think a lot of that's going to go through the Base economy.
Nice, great question. Yes, right over here on the left side.
The best AMA questions
Yeah, hard to name.
Yeah. My comment is mostly on Base Bridge. What are the plans on having native bridge between Base and other ecosystems? We'll be building an application, a social application, and one of the things we want to do is deploy most of our smart contracts on Base. But having users having to bridge their tokens using other bridges costs a lot of money. What do you think about having native bridge where it's actually free, which is just to onboard into Base?
I think I got the gist of that question. I think you're basically asking, what are we doing to make it really easy for people to get onto Base via on-ramps?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of different initiatives we're doing. I put them in a couple different categories. So one is obviously through our Coinbase interfaces. I think that is the easiest one. That is the one we can control. We can make it as easy as possible through Wallet, through Coinbase Exchange, make that as easy as possible for people to get onto Base and also move off to other chains as well. And so I think that's the first part. I think the second part is around stablecoins. We've said this everywhere we've gone. We've said this in, I think, probably every meeting we've had for the last couple months. But we want to make, we want to get a stablecoin for every fiat currency to make it as easy for new users to come on chain. We think it's a lot friendlier if people can use their own currency versus having to basically get forced into using dollars or get forced into using crypto native assets. And so we're making a big push around getting the highest quality issuers to launch those assets on Base. I'd say the third big thing we've done is work with large existing consumer platforms. So Base is now supported on Binance, it's now supported on OKX, and it's also supported by Web2 platforms as well. So like Stripe obviously announced Base support. And so I think a lot of it, some of it's stuff we're doing, some of it's stable coins, but a large part is continuing to bring in more and more third-party like enterprises and on-ramps to help kind of make it as easy as possible.
Yeah, and there might have been a piece of that question related to cross-chain also, I thought, and I think our investment in RIP 7755, you know, some collaboration on EIP 7683, some of the whole discussion, like Jesse's panel at DevCon, the earlier one with Vitalik and other, you know, L2 leaders is around how do we unify Ethereum, how do we have interop work both between kind of whether it's the super chain or Arbitrum's chain clusters, but then even beyond that, really any EVM. How do we think about those assets kind of pooling and unifying that liquidity and making it be a fast, cheap, simple interaction for users? So I'd say stay tuned on that, and we're really investing heavily with community, with EF, to bring some of those improvement proposals to fruition for us in 2025.
I want to ask two questions of Neri and Nick. Maybe we can start with Nick. Nick, one thing I was curious about is you work with a lot of teams who are like going gasless. I'm curious for you to describe like kind of what you're seeing as the like benefits of going gasless, and also a little bit of what you see as the like developer journey, right? Like people start going gasless, like where do they go from there? How does that scale?
Yeah, great question. I want to start by turning around to the audience, asking you a question. Can you think of a time where you went to use a Web 2 app and you had to prepay for your pro rata AWS bill that your app was getting charged for you trying to use that app? Has anyone ever had to do that in Web 2? No, because it's crazy, right? That's effectively the on-chain experience today, where to get to the magic moment of the on-chain app, you need to have this volatile asset funded in your wallet, and you then need to pay and get through that paywall before getting to the magic moment of the on-chain experience. So I think the powerful thing that Paymaster unlocks is it makes it dead simple to abstract away the need to pay gas as an end user. And I think that's most impactful at the start of their user journey with their app, where they don't yet know if they really like your app or want to use it. And so if you think about onboarding as a progression, it allows you to put funding later in the journey. Like I've been using Grab while I've been here, and I think the magic moment of ride sharing is you get to open up the app, and then you can see that a car is going to come pick you up in 5 minutes. And then, like, I had to download that app when I got here. I then didn't need to fund my wallet until, like, a car was on the way. And that then got me acquired as a user. And so we're seeing more and more that apps are using Paymaster to help with customer acquisition. And then they can also use it to retain users. You can do things like offer 2 gasless transactions a day for your returning users. You can target power users, give them even more gas subtraction benefits on a daily basis. So yeah, it's been pretty powerful for both acquisition and retention.
I love that. And then Aniri, you're like in the trenches on social constantly. Like, what do you think's ahead for 2025 with social?
I think 2025 is going to be a big year for social. We've seen so many new protocols, primitives, and apps being built, and I think social is going to be a key part for viral distribution for apps. So builders who are building mini apps, who are building games, who are building content, really starting to see viral distribution and getting users via social. And then the second is for creators. Jesse talked about this. 300 million people in the world are creating content. It's so natural to who we are as humans to want to create, share our experiences with the world. And I think that the incentives work better on chain. Creators own their content, they own their audience and their relationship with their audience. They can move that audience across platforms, and it's the type of experience that just makes sense when you even explain to your friends who aren't working on chain. And so I think that the foundations are here, and we'll start to see more and more creator apps and creators that are making more successful relationships and earnings on chain than off chain. So 2025 is a big year. If anyone's building in the social and creator space, come find me. Would love to chat with you. Or if you're a creator yourself, would love to chat with you and help you start earning and building relationships on chain.
Sorry, and one thing I forgot to add, we're also giving out Paymaster gas credits. So if you're interested in exploring the benefits of gas subtraction, but you don't know if you want to bear the cost up front, happy to give you credit, so come find me.
Awesome. All right, come find Nick. And as we're kind of winding down here, there's some good questions. Definitely, if there's more, and maybe you don't want to ask it around, come come find us. You saw the slide earlier. Maybe one more time, raise our hand if there's folks from Base or Coinbase team here. We'll all kind of raise our hands. You can look around the audience. We're here. And then I want to give a shout out. Base team, we're hiring across a number of roles, from product to engineering, go-to-market, marketing, biz ops, really everything you can imagine. And Carrie is in the audience somewhere. Raise your hand. Carrie's right there. If you're interested, go find Carrie and connect with her about potentials to collab together. We'd love to hear from you. A lot of great folks here from the Singapore office as well, and they'd love to connect with you and hear about opportunities on the Base squad. So I'm going to pass it back to you, Jesse, to take us home. And thank you guys. Round of applause for Natalie and Aaron.
Well, that's the end of our programming today. I guess I just want to wrap it up by saying thank you all for being here. I gotta be honest, this is day 18 of being on the road. We flew to Nairobi, we literally been around the world, and it's pretty tiring going around the world and working all day, and then people get online on the East Coast and the West Coast at like 10 p.m. here, and then you're like, oh God, like, can I get through it? And you can't, it's impossible. But as I have felt like I've been getting more and more exhausted, there's really only been one thing that has like made it possible for me to keep going, and that has been showing up in spaces like this and getting energy from other builders, straight up. Like, there is nothing that energizes me more and gives me more reason to wake up tomorrow and do it again than meeting all of you and listening to all of you and hearing how each one of you is making impact on this mission that we have together, which is bringing the world on chain. And so I know a lot of folks were at DEF CON. I can imagine a lot of y'all were tired as well, and it means the world to me and to the team that all of you opted in to showing up here on a Monday night. And I just want to say thank you. And I want to say that we are at the beginning of an incredible journey. And some of us have been here for a little while, and so maybe it doesn't feel like the beginning, but what's going to happen over the next few years, I think is going to be pretty mind-blowing, because the tools are finally ready, the infrastructure is finally ready, the people are finally ready, the builders are finally here, and now it's just up to us to build. And so I hope tonight you maybe learn something, you maybe meet someone new, you have that connection, and that helps you build better. So thank you for being here, and have an awesome night. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.